I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Amelia's duel hits the front. Emma is coming right away for Damien Oliver.
Bella Nipotina, and boy, doesn't she deserve this.
The Giga Kick's got a strong kick.
Golden Mile, soar out the mile. I'm thunderstruck over the top. Mr. Brightside has won the mile.
And Militarised blows them away in the Champagne Stakes. And she's a class act, pulling right away Prowess. And Zoo Gotcha won it by 2.5.
Zaki joined by Animo, who looks destiny in the face.
Look, should we start with the good news or the bad news?
I'm a positive guy. Let's start with good news.
Where are we this Saturday?
Busy.
Busy boys?
Busy. We found a way, technically us.
Of course.
We found a way to get to the AFL Grand Final. Drifters.
So if you're a Collingwood supporter, come say g'day.
Yeah.
And we'll say commiserations.
100%. More importantly, if you're a Victorian-based Lions fan, maybe Fitzroy, was your team back in the day, or maybe your dad's, and you're there, say g'day. We'll be at the MCG and probably the most expensive seats you can find. Shout out to your partner, Prue, for coming through with the goods.
She's played another blinder. I was just thinking about this afternoon. This is the second grand final that she's got me tickets to.
Clutch.
Because she got me tickets to the grand final up here too.
When it was here, yeah.
Unbelievable. So,
yeah, we said to each other on Saturday, we'll do everything we can.
And we did.
To get ourselves tickets to the AFL Grand Final. Yeah, that's what happened.
Even talking to some players' partners.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We did it.
Do we have shame? No.
No shame. No shame at all. No. But just to sweeten the pie, so to speak, Friday night racing at the Valley. We'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Oh, we'll see the Cox Plate favourite after Friday.
Shout out to good friends at Ned's for hooking us up there. So,
yep.
Yeah. Can't wait, mate. It's just a bit of a hit and run mission.
Yep. And we're gonna fly back at first light on Sunday. Daylight savings kicks off on Sunday morning too.
Oh,
so we'll get back here at like 8, and then we'll come in either licking our wounds. I think we'll be licking our wounds either way, to be fair. And we'll do a review podcast about the day, about the racing. But the bad news, mate. Well, I haven't watched this yet, but let's have a look at what the jockey said about mint condition today at Ipswich.
Bailey, I thought that was a good first up effort off the back of no trials or anything. Just got a bit lost there and stepped away a little bit slow.
Yeah, I thought she was good. She done everything right today. She went to the barriers and done everything good. Stood in the gates for a fair while and a little bit smooth. As you just touched on, she's just sort of half slow and just pressing that spot where I just had to be off the roller just to try and hold that 1-1. I thought she's gone super. She's done a massive blow pulling up, so that run's probably just going to be perfect for 1,000 next time.
1,000 next time out, right here.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
No trials for mint condition fans out there. Heels also has an update, so let's hear from the great man.
Hey guys, quick update on mint condition. She's pulled up extremely well. I thought it was a super run. Not a lot of luck. Stepped slow away and just got beaten for early speed and had to sort of press for that 1-1 position, but got a bit lost around the corner there, and I thought if we could have poked out, she would have been there in the finish, but she just didn't have that zip over 800, but step her up to 1,000, find a race, and she'll be right in it. So very happy with how she's conducted herself here today. It was a pleasant surprise, and I was very happy with that run. Had a good blow and nice sort of trial for her.
Nothing like race fitness.
Yes.
This is what I'm taking away from that.
Yes. Well, effectively, it was a trial for her. If she's pulled up super well, then that's good.
Well, we know we have a dry track horse, which we're in a drought at the moment, so that's good news for us.
Yeah, so onwards and upwards, as they say.
Yeah. Should we get to the Valley? Was there anything else? Do you want to talk about the Everest real quick? The attrition rate?
Oh, mate. Bursting at the seams, isn't it? Yeah. So what happened last year? Lost and running. He was scratched. Was there any
On
other
the day,
horses?
though.
On the day, yeah, right.
So I'm trying to think back. I can't remember. Like, I feel like James Harron made his. I can't remember if he got rid of one because he was the last one to pick up a horse, and he picked up Giga Kick. I think he was just patient. I can't remember there being this much attrition rate.
I can't remember. So no sunshine in Paris, and fair few astute judges out there who are saying she was right in it.
Well, that brings Espiona into it, surely.
Yeah.
Apparently, the connections don't want to go there.
Oh, really? What are they thinking of for her then?
I'm assuming another Group 1, so she would just go through the parade ring at any old price if she ticks off another Group 1.
Yeah, fair enough. By extreme choice. So she's already worth the Mozza. Well, what's the Group 1 then? It'd be Empire Rose.
Maybe Champions Mile? Flemington?
Yeah.
Like, because, maybe an Empire Rose? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, mare's grade. She's flying this prep.
Isn't she?
Like,
and if she goes down Melbourne Way, she goes even better that way.
Yeah, it's a shame because you want the best horses to contest the best races, and no Giga Kick and Sunshine in Paris, it sort of dulls it a bit. Think about it, races this weekend.
Short.
Very short price. We'll obviously talk about it later. And he's in favouritism for the Everest. Like, I get that. I think this guy's probably on the second line of betting. I haven't checked with the good people at Ned's, but is I Wish I Win the forgotten horse?
He is still favourite.
Is he?
So,
okay.
With Ned's at least. And I think he just must be. Like, I think Moods is just ticking it over.
He's got the plan.
Yep.
Like, he's running the TJ, highest rated horse in Australia. So if he matches that, or if he has any improvement, he's going to be incredibly hard to beat.
And listening to Coolmore as well, Shinzo is just all about his trial next week. So if he doesn't come through that as well as he did previously, then he won't be taking that slot either. So,
yeah.
Fascinating.
It's fascinating.
And wasn't James Harron quick to jump on cylinder? He's like, yep, no worries. I'll take that horse.
Yeah, very smart. Well, the Golden Rose has been a pretty good form reference for the Everest thus far. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We're looking at the Moir Stakes later on. Obviously, there's a shorty in there. If any of those horses beat her, then they'd be snapped up.
Well, there's two main ones, right?
Yeah, there's two main ones.
Let's get into it. The Moir Stakes, Friday night at the Valley, Wait for Age, 1,000-metre dash. Now, it's fair to say Imperatriz probably didn't help Giga Kick's chances, might even gave him a corked bum when she passed him.
Big corky.
Big corky. There's only one Opie Bossum who returns.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Michael D. He rode a repeat that day, but Opie knows this horse inside and out, so I think that's even better. Barrier 5, I feel like that's almost the perfect draw. Just pick, sit and steer job, right?
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic draw. There's going to be the pace on, obviously. Rothfire pings the gates from barrier 1. He's drawn perfectly, if anyone's drawn perfectly in the race. He held on for second.
Yeah,
in that race.
Tough, mate.
He's so good.
Underrated.
And it's interesting, Rob Heathcote, after his run last start, what was that race called? The McEwen Stakes, basically said, this is the first time since he was injured, which was 3 years ago nearly, that I can just train him like a normal horse. Like, I've been pretty soft on him the last couple of years. I'm like if there's any lengths of improvement in Rothy, then he could steal this up front if there's a massive on-pace bias. He's $7.50 with the good people at Ned's. And Asfura, obviously I'm a massive fan of this horse. I thought she was awesome first up. Caulfield. She's raced at the track once before, just missing the placing. So from memory. Maybe ran 4th.
Yep.
And
Seventh.
she's
7th, but was beaten less than 2 lengths.
1,000-metre horses, different grade with 1,200-metre horses.
Yep.
She's a 1,000-metre horse. I think they're the two, and you're probably looking at Uncommon James as well, who could cause an upset here. Imperatriz is very, very good, but she's not. Just like a Giga Kicker and I Wish I Win, she's not bulletproof, mate. Like she's not a horse who's just going to come out and win every single time she races. Like she's not that, but she is very, very good, deserved favourite here. Like she's on my own top selection, but I'd love to see like an Asfura or an Uncommon James or a Rothfire give her a nice scare here, particularly the 2 Queenslanders.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it pretty similarly?
I am seeing it very similarly. They're my top 4 in the race. I think I'd be shocked if anyone else had anything else in there. Maybe Zoostar, Acromantula.
What about your guy, the Inferno?
No, I don't know what he's doing racing in Group 1s these days. He's a Group 3 horse. Just out of his grade, big old Ferno. But yeah, I agree. Imperatriz, I don't think she's 100% bulletproof. And listening to, it was either Tiakau or someone during the week saying she's actually probably a better miler. So it's like, oh God, okay, can she actually stay at the 1,000 metres? But, you know, that Valley run would be, 3 or 4 weeks ago now. She's probably, do I want to back Uncommon James or Asfura to beat her? Probably not. The one that, if I was leaning out of one of the two, be Asfura, because she carried that weight first up, was still dominant. And I think she is like a better 1,000-metre horse, whereas I think Uncommon James, that 1,100, 1,200 metres is better suited for him. And his profile suggests that he needs that one run and that he's really wound up second up too. And we also saw with him, he hadn't put it all together and he still won an Oakley plate. So if he takes that improvement, he wouldn't shock me at all.
No.
So the way I was thinking was just keeping it simple, $100 on Imperatriz. I think she's the best horse in the race. I think she's the best winning chance.
Yeah. I was sort of looking at it just to give myself 2 chances in the race, like probably having 75 on Imperatriz. I'll probably look at her price closer to, just so that if she wins, like I'll be slightly profitable, like maybe $10.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have 25 on Asfura because she's one of mine and gives me another chance in the race. If she wins this race, she'll be in the Everest, even though she's probably better over shorter distances. But yeah, anything that beats Imperatriz here gets a slot.
Yeah? Yeah. All right, let's look at the undercard at the Valley. So we'll go to race 5 on the card, which is the Stud Stakes. Group 2, 1,600 metres for the 3-year-olds. Now, let me check my notes here because there's a fair few who are just basically beating up on each other. I thought that, Griff, Make a Call, Mojave Desert, Deadly Pass, King of Fighters all coming out of that Griff race from Flemington where it was extremely windy. And you could probably argue that King of Fighters was extremely unlucky not to win that race, but Griff came from a mile back, had that Sydney form as well. And then Mojave Desert peaked on its run going forward. Make a Call's just probably not up to that grade. I thought this was a pretty tough race and not one I was too keen to have a bet into.
Yeah. There's an interesting filly down the bottom, Autumn Angel, out of the Moody and Coleman stable. She's dual accepted, so I think she's like 40-something bucks to the people in Neds in the Flight Stakes on Saturday in Randwick. She creates some interest being here. She's shown some promise early on in her career. I like King of Fighters here. So in that Griff race, from memory, I have to watch the replay again. Drifters haven't had the chance to. He came home like a freight train from what I can remember.
Held up from the 2-1 too. Had to cross heels, then down the outside, absolutely stormed home.
Yeah, so like you could argue he's looking for the mile. He's out of Street Boss, who's the sire of my guy Animo, and
Half bro.
yeah, and Pinstriped actually, same size. So there you go. Street Boss's side was Street Cry side Winks Drifters. Anyway, so I like King of Fighters at $4.80 with the good people at Ned's. Suited up to a mile. He's still a maiden. If he can handle the valley and find a nice spot from gate 9, I reckon that's a play.
Yeah, I think he probably lands outside the speed here because his runs previous to that last run, he was sitting outside the leader. So I think he gets that exact same run here. The leader in the race, I think, is the second starter, Verdad, for Robbie Griffiths and Michael DeCock. Bo Mertens in the saddle. Nice win, 3.5 length victory, 1,300 metres up to 1,600, way up in grade from maiden grade. $6.50 looks a little bit unders for that horse. So if it won, barrier 4, probably the clear leader in the race. Wouldn't be shocked, but I want to take that horse on. My on-top selection, I'm sticking fat with my Harvey Desert because it was just a weird day at Flemington that day. They weren't running any time. He just might have had a gust of wind that just threw him off balance. Blake Shin in the saddle. I could see him, and the market absolutely loved him on the day. He was about $14 into $6. Giving him another chance to break his maiden here. Sydney form, but barrier 5 will probably be second pair back, one off the fence in the A1 position. So if I was having a bet, he'd be the one. Race 6 is the Stocks Stakes. Now, what does Amelia's Jewel have to do to draw a barrier in Melbourne?
Getting the visitors draw a millie. Interesting. Like, she goes back from there and she just tries to repeat exactly what she did first up. Getting out over further is a big tick. Sticking to the mare's grade tick. Really liked her run around the valley.
You're not concerned at all?
It's tricky. It's tricky from out there. Like, if it's an on-pace bias, if they walk, then it's hard. But she's so good. Yeah, she's $1.35 with the good people at Ned's, so not a betting proposition for me.
No,
that's closing in on Winks like odds, and she's not on Winks.
You look on and you clap. That's what you do.
Yeah, and we'll see her in the mounting yard. We'll get a little like, hey Millie.
Yep.
So I'm just happy to be there to see her in the flesh.
Absolutely, in the Ned's lounge, and I think the thing there as well is, I'd actually prefer, if I wanted to have a bet in the race, not to get her beaten. That's not what I'm saying. I'd much rather her, something like a Pride of Jenny, which is going to be in front of her. Sure, was pretty average last start, but you look back 3 or 4 starts, she almost beat Espiona in a Group 1 in Sydney. Barrier 6, Froggy knew it. Froggy Leicester. Are you listening to what I'm saying here?
Bit of an omen.
So at $12, I'd much rather play her maybe to place with that soft draw where, I think she could definitely run into the top 3, but I definitely want to see Amelia's Jewel winning. Now, the last race on the program is the Scarborough Stakes. 3-year-old fillies, 1,200 metres. Thought this was a nice little race.
Yeah, this is a good race. I'm holding firm with my girl, Skirt the Law. I thought she was a bit flat last start.
Mate, wind, straight.
Yeah.
Could be any of it.
Yeah.
Weird race.
So, happy to forgive. I think she just peaked on her run a lot earlier than what she typically would. Didn't show the turn of foot that we saw from her when she won the Magic Millions 2-year-old, and also resuming when she was just beaten by Charmstone. Charmstone goes and runs 5th in a Golden Rose. Ran super. So if you draw a form line there, she should be putting these away. I think she can turn the tables on She's All Shenanigans. $4 with the good people at Ned's. I like to draw too. Get her into a nice spot. Just sort of midfield, hopefully forward to midfield. And Skirt the Law in the last. Could be a really good weekend for your boy.
It could. I'm specking one here at a price for a stable that absolutely love Friday night at the Valley, and that's Tony and Calvin McAvoy with Bossy Nick. Now, this girl only finished 2.5 lengths away from the likes of Christilli, who hasn't come on this prep.
No.
But Christilli beat Tiz Invincible and Kaimochi. Now, they're the spoilers. They're the leading two hopes in the flight stakes, right? So I think she's extremely smart, didn't get through the heavy ground that day, and she's had 3 trials in the lead up to this. Her last one was delicious over the 1,000 meters. She'll be wound up, ready to go here. Only concern is that barrier. That sucks. Barrier at 12. My God. Sucks. Where does Harry Coffey go from there? No idea. So it's a big ask for her. First up against the likes of Cigar Flick, Lazargo, Skirt the Law. She's all shenanigans who are, second, third up, fourth up here. But I have a big opinion of her. So the $11, you might never see that again. Shall we go to Randwick and look through the Group 1 features there?
Yes.
Well, let's start with the flight stakes. 1,600 metres, Group 1 for the 3-year-old fillies. Who won this race last year? Was it Zugotcha?
Zooey won it last year. Put a couple of lengths on him, actually. Where are they now? Well, she's actually a little bit sick. She's spelling little Zoo. But, yeah, look, before the race and after its last performance, now going for 4 wins in a row in the Princess Series, Tiz Invincible, you're like, well, this thing should take care of these again, because she's getting further and further away from them the further out they get. And she draws a car park. And you're like, thanks, Racing New South Wales, for that. For mine, she's the best in the race. Like, she's the best horse in the race. Yeah, a little bit of a tricky barrier. Zach Lloyd's been phenomenal recently, though, when he's not getting banned left, right and centre. So I'm just hoping that he finds some cover. If she's a little bit back, so be it. It's not absolutely ideal. Yeah, no prizes to find her, but happy to go with Tiz Invincible in this. I backed Tropical Squall last start. It'll ping forward from the gates. I think it'll be fitter up to the mile. But again, Tiz Invincible's just showing the brilliance. So happy to stick with her. So I'm just going to have $100 on her.
Yep. So that's your head making that selection. I'm going to make one with my heart, and I'm going out swinging with Kaimochi.
You gotta.
I have to. Please, one time.
Give me a chance, please.
I think if the setup this prep is going to happen, it's going to be here, because barrier 8 versus barrier 13, Tiz Invincible probably needs to do a bit more work early, and how's that going to affect her at the end of the 1,600 metres? Whereas if Kaimochi can be ridden a little bit more quietly this time and not have horses just breaking her ribs early, I think she's the one that I want to be with at the price. And I do have her in some doubles without a fight into a Caulfield Cup. So I am invested several ways. Fascinating that even though J-Mac's available, that Zach Lloyd retains the ride on Tiz Invincible as well.
Very interesting.
Kaimochi is my on-top selection. I'm keeping it fairly simple with her. Just double-checking my notes. First thought, best thought. Yeah, $100 on... No, 50 each way on Kaimochi. Because if Tiz Invincible wins by 3, I don't want to be like, duh, that happened. But I'm pretty certain they run 1-2.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's go we'll skip the Premier Stakes, even though that is a sensational contest. Let's go the Epsom Handicap. I love this race.
Yeah, it's a good race, I guess.
But unfortunately, I thought you were a bit dour this podcast. What's wrong?
Just flat. I'm feeling flat because there's one horse that I was keen to bet on in one race, probably the most this spring, and that was Pericles in the Epsom. I just had a feeling that he was going to come of age this prep, win the Group 1 and just establish himself as just another guy who can slot into our Group 1 weight for age ranks. He's a gelding, so I thought he'd be around for a while. I think he's going to be around for a while. He's not brand bred. But he obviously got some blood in the schnolls this week, so he's been scratched, which is next stop devastation, Drifters. So it's just flattened me out a little bit. And also, like the high of managing to get AFL tickets, like the grand final tickets, like I think I'm on a bit of a come down. Because I was like, as soon as we got him, I was just booking stuff left, right and centre. So look, yeah, fantastic race. I'm still keen to play, obviously, like, come on, as if you wouldn't.
Yep.
But I would have just whacked $100 on the Schnoz at Pericles, so I'm just a bit disappointed.
Yep.
As usual, there's a stack of chances in this race. As usual, there'll be a lot of pace. As usual, there'll be swooping. There'll be things lightly weighted out the front. It's always a great contest. Yeah. There's a few I like. So are you particularly keen to whack one horse like I think you are, or are you going to have a couple of plays?
There's 3 horses in my $100 strategy, and I've had to adjust the staking accordingly because there's one that is my clear on top selection and he's my best result. But how is the money for the inevitable?
Big money for
$6.50 favourite early doors. Wait till race day. You might get better because he was the equal $7 favourite when Pericles came out with Hope in Your Heart. Hope in Your Heart, barrier 10, Craig Williams on board, 54 kilos, is now at $8.50. So you might get a better price for her, or, you might not get that price on race day. The inevitable.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic winning chance.
Well, you'd have to suggest that based on his form. Like
he's a winning machine.
He's a winning machine. He's got form around Mr. Brightside, Waterford, Cascadian, Golden Miles, all right. In his last 2 runs, like, and I thought, first up. With 59 kegs on his back, he's only a little horse. So any weight relief is great for this horse. It's been some go. Look, I think he's a winning chance, but he's not in my strategy. Like, I've got others that are mine, right, in this race as opposed to him. So yeah, I can understand the market move. For me, there's probably 3 horses that I'm keen to play with. I sort of need to establish what my betting strategy is going to be, Drifters, because this far out for a race like this,
it's difficult. It's $7 a field.
Yeah, exactly. So
very hard.
3 horses that I really like in this race. We'll go in descending order. Ascending order, sorry. Number 17, Redenia. Is that how you say it?
Sure. I'm not.
Redina. 50 kegs on his back, like form around Yellow Brick. I thought he was brilliant first up. And you know where he's going to be in the run, drawn perfectly. He's going to be leading with a lightweight. You'd think Kathy O'Hara can just, kick, and hopefully hold on. So $13 for the good people at Ned's. He'll most likely be in my betting strategy. Going up, I think number 12, Pounding. If you're trying to find Mr. Brightside form, then this horse has got it, right? So he ran 6th first up in the PB Lawrence. And that was after finishing in the placings for the Australian Cup last prep. And then 4th behind Pinstriped in the Fan Stakes. So he's a horse who, he's not a Group 1 horse, but with a bit of weight relief in a handicap like this, he's a pony that I'm probably going to play with. Again, $13 for the good people at Ned's. And then my on top selection, I think Completely Forgive first up, over 1,300 metres. And that's Kovalika. So coming off a Queensland Derby victory over, 2,400 metres, like, this guy's not going to have the sprint in his legs to win over 1,300 metres, and it's also not his go at all. Like, he's probably a 2,000 metre horse, right? But you get to a really strongly run mile like the Epsom, bit of weight relief, draws a really good gate for him as well, because he's going to be about midfield. More importantly, the booking. Magic Man, he's absolutely flying. And I just think he's here to run really well. Like, he'll bounce back. There's no... Why would Chris Wallace say from the outset that the Epsom's the grand final for this horse after winning a Queensland Derby if he didn't think that he was a really good winning chance? And he's $9 for the good people at Ned's. I think if there's a horse that they come for on the day, I think he could be the horse. Yep. Kovalika. So he's going to be my top selection. Sorry, Drifters, I don't have a set sort of...
How dare you?
Betting strategy. At this stage, it'd probably be $50 on the Schnoz for him and then 25 on Pounding and 25 on Redanier. Stack of other chances, but they're the ones I want to play with.
Yep. Lovely. For me, Redanier, Redina. Redina's my on-top selection. I was just really taken by his first up run. Didn't beat much, including the Wild Planet and Cuban Royale, but gee, I think you just got to believe your eyes sometimes. Ran really quick time on the day, smashed the clock, and I just believe he can do it again because big field, there's probably going to be tempo in there for sure, but on paper, there's not a hell of a lot. So I think he just gets the run of the race. Different horse since he's been running on speed. Just, yeah, Kathy O'Hara, get him jumping, get him in the second line, off the fence, bang. Yeah, he'll be awfully, awfully hard to beat. So I'll have, at this stage, yeah, agreed, but around that $60 to $70 on him to win. $30 or so on the Inevitable, just because he has that Mr. Brightside form in at the mile over in the All-Star Mile. And then the blowout, the one that everyone was tipping after her first up run, Alentia. You just don't want to sit back and go, how do we not have this thing on top?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Alentia for me as well. Let's go to the Metropolitan. Now, I heard when Mickey Blue Eyes was interviewing Rachel King today, on Wednesday, that if Just Fine wins this at $1.65 with Ned's at the moment, he'll be the shortest priced winner in the history of the race, and it's been running for 120, 130 years or something.
Wowee.
So barrier 2 jumps.
Perfect.
Jumps, leads. Are they going to run him down? It's going to be hard, isn't it?
I think it's going to be very hard to run him down. 50 kilos on his back. That's the perfect draw for him. All the things that could annoy him are on the outside of him. So he doesn't care. He's just like, well, if you really want to get in front of me that desperately, then you can, I guess. Oh, he's going to be incredibly hard to beat. He's $1.65 with the good people at Ned's. Like, that's short, mate.
It's like, very short.
Like, that's
for a staying contest where anything can really happen.
100%. I'm just looking. So what's on the second line of betting? Mr. Waterville, $9.50 with the good people at Ned's. Sneesby Racing's in the ownership of Mr.
Yes, I know. Because every time I put up those polls, right, he seemingly has a runner in every single Group 1.
He does. He does. So, yeah, I think he'll run a really good race, Mr. Waterville, as well. He's lightly raced, Northern Hemisphere horse. On the quick backup, like Chris Waller's got a plan with him, so he'll only run well. Just Fine's my on top selection. Like, no prizes there. But again, it's similar to the Imperatriz race. Like, I'll probably want to have, $70 on him or 75 or whatever, just to not lose on the race if he wins, but not really profit. And then I'm going to have a play on Mr. Waterville as well, probably $15 on the Schnoz, just to give myself another chance. And then one other horse who I think might actually be starting to figure it out this prep is one of the most well-named horses in Australia by a reliable man and out of Baggy Green is Benno. J Carr, big tick, 51.5 kilos on his back, gate 1. He'll be there or thereabouts. This is his pet distance, I think. So I'll probably have something on him as well. He's $15 for the good people at Ned's. But yeah, Just Fine is really good and he should win this, but you see prices like that, and it actually pisses you off. You know what I mean? Like unless it's like a Millie. Like if Millie's that price, you're like, yeah, good, because she's a star. Yeah, he could be very good.
I think the thing about this horse is he's had 2 starts in Australia and he's smashed the clock twice.
Yeah.
And
Stable's flying.
Stable is flying. I guess if you want to look for a chink in the armour, he has had the 3 runs over the distance and only placed once. But do we have the quality of stayers here that we do overseas?
What was he carrying?
Yeah, he's probably carrying an absolute mozza as well. So 59, 58 and 56. So, and from that lead-up run in the Kingston Town, he's meeting them all better at the weights. Yes. So it's like anything there, I just find it really difficult to see anything actually beating him from there. And I think it's probably the best form line as well. So I'm just keeping it simple. I'm a believer. There's some good judges backing this horse in a Melbourne Cup. So, yeah, is he that good? Not sure. But, like, he's nearly running, like he was less than 0.1 of a second away from breaking the track record over 2,000 metres. So, I think not only does he do it out front, but he runs at his high tempo speed. Yeah, just fine on top.
Yep.
All right. Now, this is going to get a bit funky because there's some 2-year-old races and these are bloody tough. So let's go to race 2 at Royal Randwick. The rail is in the True Drifters. We should have mentioned that earlier. It's true at Moonee Valley as well. But race 2, the Jim Crack for the fillies, 1,000 metres, Group 3. Now, you can look at all the trials. Are these betting races for the first 2 that we're going to be talking about? Absolutely not, for me at least. Actually, there might be one in the second, just because of the sheer ridiculousness of the price they put up. There's a couple of ladies that I think will be very hard to beat here.
In the fillies race, yeah. Couple of ladies. Yeah, Lady Tassort and Lady of Camelot, I agree. Something that I probably don't do as much anymore, but with these 2-year-old races when they're mostly all on debut, is you look at the jock and you look at the trainer and you're just like, who's the best jockey in the race or one of, and who's the best trainer of 2-year-olds in the race? And you're looking at Lady of Camelot. She's also trialled Super. So I think she's the most obvious pick, J-Mac on. So she'll be mine, whether I actually bet in the race or not. Who am I kidding? Of course I will. So yeah, just wait and see, Drifters.
Yeah. What about old TC Waterhouse spot? Alina. But the other thing that I like to see in these 2-year-old races, and I actually haven't found it for these 2, but is who actually is going to be on the rail and just have something to actually guide them down there. But yeah, if I had to, you go Lady of Camelot, I'll go Lady Tassort.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that. I have a firmer opinion in the Breeders' Plate for the Colts and Geldings. It is still anyone's guess. And typically the other thing with this is like the market's pretty good. Like if they're coming for one on the day, like you can pretty much back that with confidence. Now, Espionage and Bodyguard, they're in the James Harron Silks. Espionage was the one that was down the outside, and he's $18-ish. Yeah. And Bodyguard is more than double the price, and I actually thought the Bodyguard was the better trial out of the 2. So he's like, Bodyguard's one of the ones I'm keen of to have like a luck tester. Just to, of looking at those, he was one that I wrote down. I was surprised at the price. The other fantastic trial is out of the race was obviously Scampy. Everyone saw Scampy, $1.80. It's just so short. Volatile was very good, coming from last down the outside. Always love to see that. Fearless and Prost were very good as well. But at the price of all the ones that I like the look of, I'll have a little spec at Bodyguard at $40.
Yeah, no, we're very well played for these 2-year-old races. Anything can happen. So
T. Berry in the saddle?
He's back.
Good to have him back.
Go Tommy Berry. Oh, hallelujah. Scampy was ultra impressive, but I'm not diving in $1.80 for a 2-year-old.
No.
I might back J-Mac to get both of them done with Volatile at a better price of $4.80.
He was very good.
Snowden's as well, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those China Horse Club silks too, rich get richer.
I agree. All right, let's go to race 5 on the program, which is the Delusify Stakes, 1,600 metres listed race. Now, I thought this was tough because there's so many alternative form lines here, but the best form line have been very well found in the market, and that is your Tom Kitten, your Kintyre, your Tannhauser, and your Cafe Millennium. Now, what I will say is Kintyre, that horse is disrespected every single time it goes around, and it still runs top 5 in all of its races. So if you like that form, he's probably the one that's overs because he'll sit on speed and be in there for a long way. Hard to look past Tom Kitten, though. I thought he was very nice here.
Yeah, Tom Kitten is a great bet in this race. I'm looking at this race like most people, obviously, and thinking of the Spring Champion Stakes. And some really good judges are giving Cafe Millennium a big push in that race. And I love the horse because he's just so fucking big. He's so big. So I hope he runs well. I'm sticking with Tannhauser though. The plan for Chris Waller, clearly, after his fantastic run in the JJ, was probably Spring Championship for this horse. So he's by done deal, just like Militarize. Obviously, Militarize is probably on a Cox Plate path. I don't think this guy's heading to a Cox Plate. But he can win a Spring Champion Stakes, I think, Tannhauser. $9.50 with the good people at Ned's, so he's pretty well found at the moment. He's going to be on toppy.
Cafe Millennium, B Shin on. That is a hell of a jockey booking there.
Great booking.
Blinker's first time as well, so he might not just be out the arse end like he usually is. And we've seen with his debut win, he's got a hell of a turn of foot when it all goes right. He has had that victory at Randwick as well. So out to the mile, first time. I might have a little spec on Big Cafe.
The big boy.
It might have a little flat white at the Millennium. And I reckon that's about it, mate.
What, for the entire day?
Yeah.
What about race 7, the Premier Stakes?
Oh, God.
Can't forget about that.
Sorry, I was tricking you.
Yeah. Drifters.
Talk about speed in this race. My God, it's come from everywhere.
Everywhere. And I'm thinking that there's probably a horse in the race who can absorb it better than anyone else from what we've seen, and let's think about it. Like, draws gate 2.
You think it's that simple?
It's not that simple. Like, he's deserved favourite. He's going to be so hard to beat. From what we've seen, he just improves each time.
Yeah.
And Jack Pryde's given him, give him some time off, get him back ready for this. He knows he's in the Everest. He'll be pretty wound up.
Yeah.
Concern is if you're going to dive into him, there's a couple of horses here, Drifters, where their trainers will be absolutely desperate to get them into the Everest. Alcohol Free is here to run well. Obviously, Yulong has a slot. They want to see her run really well. If she runs top 3, she'll probably take that slot, you would imagine. Spend an absolute fortune.
10.
On a 10 milli.
10 bricks.
10 bricks, yeah. She'll run well. Outside of that, the two that I'm probably most interested in looking at would be number 6, Hawaii 5-0, and number 10, Zapateo. I thought Hawaii 5-0 was great, resuming, running 6th. He just looked to peak on his run in the shorts over 1,100 metres. He's probably more of a 1,400 metre horse, so for him to be running pretty well over 1,100 is a good sign. He'll be wound up because they want to get him into the Everest. He could be a horse where, like, I know he's owned by Jerry Harvey and John Singleton. He could be a horse where if he runs super here, maybe even wins, Coolmore's like, hey. because he's still got his balls.
Who was that horse that I heard today? Is like Coolmore just want to look after their own. So it's almost like, I don't know Hawaii 5-0's breeding, and I don't know if the side is standing at Coolmore.
It's I'm Invincible. He's not a Coolmore horse.
So, but I heard there was a horse that won at Flemington a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a Rosemont horse.
Right.
And they sold it for $10,000, and it came out and won that really smartly. And there's chat about them taking him, a 3-year-old.
Archo, not Archo.
Nacho.
Yeah, okay. Is he by a Coolmore sire?
Yes, because of that. So it's kind of like that's the whispers I've heard, which I think is fascinating. So I don't know the breeding that well, but you know.
Well, on that, where does I Am Invincible actually stand? Yarraman Park stud. Yeah, right. So that's a very fair shout. Yeah, it's a fascinating race. I think about it wins, but I'd probably personally like to have a spec at Hawaii 5-0 at 10s just because I like the horse.
Yep.
Is he going to turn the tables on him after running third with no weight and a Stradbroke and think about it? Brain them all? Probably not, but
yeah. I think there is another horse in this race that is criminally underrated. She tries her heart out every single time. That's Bella Nipotina. If I'm looking at Bella Nipotina and Zapateo, I'm taking Bella Nipotina every day of the week. Every single day. In saying that, Zapateo was out in that, was it Sunshine Paris race, I'm pretty sure. So, that was run at track record speed. So she's probably going to be better for the run. But Bella Nipotina, I love the gap between runs. I think she's ready to put in a really strong performance here. Craig Williams is back in the saddle too, which is a big upgrade. No offense to Benny Mellum, but Craig just gets on so well with this horse. Like, of her 6 career wins, Craig's won 3 of those in 6 starts. So I think Craig just gets on really well with some horses, not all connections though. So if I was to have a little spec on something, I think something small and Bella, but yeah, I agree. Think about it, looks awfully hard to beat.
Very hard to beat. And that's it.
That's it, mate. Now it's just a waiting game, isn't it?
It is just a waiting game. This is going to be a long week, long rest of the week.
Yep.
But jetting down on Friday, Drifters will be heading to the racing that night. Will the big house get a touch-up? Probably.
I'll tell you after, but I was that far away from having a little kitty.
You get that on the big jobs?
You do. But yeah, we'll probably say g'day to all the fans of the 2 Units podcast and AFL umpires. Nick Foote.
Yep.
I've already reached out to him and he's going to the Valley, and I think his quote was, and I'll be giving it a nudge because he's not umpiring on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
So it's almost like Mad Monday for umpires.
Yeah, effectively.
And racing fans.
Effectively. I can't wait. The Valley's a great place to watch racing, Drifters. Make sure you get down there before they redevelop in a couple of years. It's going to be a weekend with so many highlights. Millie, Imperatriz.
Yep.
Don't know where we'll be. When the races are on the Saturday.
I think we'll be betting early. I don't think we'll have reception.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll be able to watch all the races, but who cares? AFLGF.
AFL Grand Final and NRL Grand Final. Oh, we could do the NRL on Sunday morning, but AFL Grand Final prediction.
Lions to win, obviously. I think they'll win, not comfortably, but by a couple goals.
Yeah.
So a nice 12 to 18 point win, I'm going to say, for the Lions. Bog. So Norm Smith. I'm going to say, I love my guy Hugh, but I'm going to say Cam Rayner.
Cam Rayner?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a Dusty type performance.
Yep.
3 goals, 20-something touches.
Petrarca, Dusty Martin, Cam Rayner, all very similar players. Now, Cam's not at their level yet by any means, but he's on that trajectory for all those Lions fans out there. Mate, if you watched the Brownlow the other night, you know who's starting to pick up votes really late and was the clear man of the match last week? That's Kadeem Coleman.
Mate, Kitty Coleman was my other pick.
He is.
He's flying.
So good.
He's airborne.
He is airborne. So I reckon they'll just forget about him off half back and he'll just 10 intercept marks and he'll hit those 45s. He'll be good to go, mate.
NRL, I hope the Broncos win. If the Broncos are going to win, I think Reece Walsh has to get Clive Churchill.
Yep. Oh, Renault,
the professional. He'll just get the job done.
Yep. All right. It's good to be here in Brisbane. We'll see you Sunday morning.
See you, Drifters.